Welcome. Do you remember me? My voice? My presence? Do you remember me? My voice? My presence? Do you remember? The promise that you made? When I looked into your eyes and I saw how scared you were, and there was no way back, only a promise in front of you. Do you remember the promise? I'm prepared. I'm talented enough. I trust myself. Do you remember me? Do you remember when Mercury and Pluto in Aquarius initiated the promise? I don't forget the look in your eye. Fear into fearlessness. Do you trust yourself? Do you remember me? How I roll? What's imprinted on my face? I've never have gone away. I've been here the whole time. And all these months, you've been watching me on YouTube. Running away, several of you. Some of you, a lot of you here right now have stood here. But the whole time, did you remember what's on my forehead? You see, I appear at certain times in certain ways. That is my gift, Nicholas, Sparkles of Gold. I do things in many different ways. There is actually a method to my madness. Some have considered me culty. Okay. You know, and I know the real reasons, the real journey. And it has to do with what's on my forehead. And I'm just representative of that glyph. That's how I roll. So sometimes no one sees the glyph, but it's still there. Do you remember? Today is a day to remember. And this week is a week to go back to the promises that you made, to reinforce those promises, to check in on the promises you made to yourself. Not me, little old Sparkles of Gold with some weird symbol on my forehead. I mean, it's harmless, isn't it, that little symbol? I mean, look at it. But now that you know that symbol before you even met me, you look at it and you know, as soon as you see the glyph, what it does to your heart, to your mind. It stops you right there, and you know exactly, as far as you know what you're dealing with, at least what's in front of you, its impact. I mean, I stare at it in the mirror every day. I look in the mirror every day, every night. I'm brushing my teeth, washing my face, talking to myself, and I see the damn glyph on my forehead, and it never goes away. And just when I think it does, it comes back. It'll happen when I'm walking down the street. It'll happen with a beautiful woman who says nothing to me in the grocery store, who looks at me a certain way. And I'm like, is she Hades or is she Persephone or is she both? But why do they always walk towards me? I go look in the mirror again. And I'm like, duh, I got this thing on my forehead. That's why. Do you remember me? That's what they'll say to me. And I'm like, okay, I actually do remember you. I remember you from 2 months ago. I remember you from 3 years ago. I remember you when we went on a trip and we were on the coast and the waves were crashing and the fog came in and everybody left on the beach and it was scary. People were freaked out. And in the background was a full moon coming through and the weirdest, trippiest blue light casting through the fog. And you looked at me and you said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Nicholas. I'm just Nicholas. That's all. I'm just Nicholas." A guy with a YouTube channel who's just doing another weekly forecast. Another week out of the 52 weeks in the year is doing the weekly forecast. It's like, hell, do you realize it's halfway through the year already? I mean, it's just another week, right? That's who I am. I'm just Nicholas. Sparkles of gold. Just another creator on YouTube. Scraping and crawling the mountain of YouTube. But then again, I'm not just Nicholas. Because I know out of the thousands of channels out there, the astrology channels, I know something. There is no one like me. Nicolas Polymenakos. Just Nicholas. With a glyph on my head. That's what I do know. Hi, everybody. Let's jump right in, okay? Because I am in this place right now. I'm in this place. You know, this is where I've been for the last 3 days. That place. Happy half year to you. That's it. That's the end of the stream. Forget about it. It's the end of the stream. I mean, if it's about Pluto and a Pluto glyph, what else is there? Just a promise, and that's it. I could talk about any transit this week, tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, whatever. Still the promise. Let's go through the motions. Let's go through the motions. Dora Destroy. Dora Destroy, thank you for the super chat that I see up on the screen over here that just popped up. And it's green. I get a lot of green here on these things. And it's just maybe because I'm Venus ruled. You know, I got some of my subscribers of the channel and my Patreon members here. I see some of you here. Dora Destroy, thank you for the super chat that triggered some sort of green blob that has a bandana on its head and a cone hat that's the same hat as its nose. I don't know if you're noticing this. Who came with that? Who came up with that? Was that AI that came up with that, or was somebody in the YouTube designers that came up with that? Well, that was interesting. They were probably high in the Bay Area when they're making that one night or something. Well, at least I hope they were. Hey, look at these are the transits. This is 417. Look at us. Look at us. Hey, look what came into Gemini this morning. It was the moon after being in Taurus the last several days and kind of accentuating, solidifying a water earth story if you haven't noticed. Okay? And I sure like to, okay, that's what I need to do. So thank you, Dora. So saying that, we are looking at a Gemini moon, but we had a lot of Taurus. We had Taurus moon pretty much go through Mars and was in between Mars and Uranus here the last several days. Last night, yesterday. And we kind of had it coming out of the weekend here on this weird week, at least for the United States, because it's a weird holiday week and everybody's timing's off. It's going to be off the whole week. Okay, so basically we have this, and it's interesting, this moon, what the moon is doing this week because of what it's carrying, the story. Now, moon in Taurus has, in a sense, touched upon the Taurus story that we've been dealing with, but also connecting with the Cancer story and the Pisces story because of the sextiles Earth makes to those places. And so after this movement we've had, now we go into the Gemini realm. And before we go there, well, we're there now, but before we go there, we had Saturn in the weekend on Saturday stopped to do its 4.5-month retrograde period. We have Neptune today that stopped, and we had a Taurus moon. So if you think about this, and this is my life. I don't know what it is for you, but it sure seemed like time stopped, and it sure seems that way right now. It might change a little bit here with the moon going into Gemini the next day and a half, like speeding up through there when it touches Jupiter and a couple other things. But for the most part, it's like a standstill that happened for me. Like everything stopped, everything was gone in slow motion. It still feels that way to me, even though my brain isn't working it's working pretty fast right now. And and even saying that, James Sanders says with a super chat, says, great work journeying through the underworld. James, hey. You understand. Thank you, James, for the super chat, homie. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I sure lost the windows that I'm working with right now. I don't even know where they are. I'm lost right now on this thing. You guys can't tell what the hell's going on behind the scenes, but I just lost. Oh, there it is. I'm seeing. So I got to move something. You're going to see what I'm going to do here. It's not a secret. I just need to see what's going on there. All right. So let's go back here to this. And it looks like I'm on camera still. So yeah. As Dora Destroy says in chat, super slow motion. That's what it's felt for a lot of people I've talked to. It seems that way. Gemini Moon's going to switch this up as we speak right now. Part of the reason why I jumped on a stream today is I needed a little bit of the bump. I needed a little bit of the Hermes bump, And even though, and since we'll lead to that, since the moon is in Gemini this morning, let's say it officially when the hell it happened. It happened at 8:50 a.m. this morning. A lot happened in the middle of the night for people transit-wise or early this morning. I'm going to get to this. So there's the Gemini moon. What planet rules Gemini? It is Mercury, which, hey, I'm telling you, listen, I don't mind the Cancer story. I think it's needed more than ever in the next year after every time we do Gemini stuff. I'm digging it. Okay, that's cool. It does something interesting in my world, and the last several days, it's been interesting in conversations I've had with the standstill. But I'm welcoming this Mercury in Leo. I think we need it a little bit, and I think we need the spunk and the fire that's coming through Mercury running through Leo, and the what happens in being in the Cancer cave, the crab shell, for a certain amount of time. We need to burst out of that. We're not done with it. We're not even done with the Cancer birthdays yet. We're not even done with Venus and all that stuff. But we know that I'll take the Mercury. There's no choice. But it's the reason why I went live, and it's the reason why I started to stream the way I did, and it's the reason why I have mentioned the promise. If you're not clicking on all cylinders right now, my viewers, my people who watch this, because it was way back earlier in the year when Pluto entered Aquarius and we had scout planet Mercury do the conjunction to set off the rest of the planets that were moving through 0 degrees Aquarius to set off a story. And so here we are. Mercury's now on the other side of things here and speeding through, and it is pretty much waxing towards a Pluto-Mercury opposition that's going to happen tomorrow. Might as well just say when it is. It's at the middle of the night here at 12:26 a.m. on the Pacific end on the 3rd. So we're there right now. And so that's why for you people watching who know my promise stuff, what I've had, let us just review really quick, okay? For those who might be new, that here is a series of words that one can take for themselves when they're thinking about the Aquarius part of their chart and the development of that and the Pluto transit that's happening for 20 years there. And it is a serious business, actually. And so when we hit 0 degree fixed like we are today, I wanted to remind you all, and plus I was reminding myself. I mean, again, I wake up in the mirror with a damn glyph on my head, okay? So that I was prepared, that I'm prepared. And not only am I prepared, I'm talented enough, I'm gifted enough. And I trust all of that. And I follow it. That's worth this stream alone. I mean, it's just worth it alone. So anyway, Mercury opposite Pluto is happening right now. That's why I went on the stream today at this particular time, to throw some of that Pluto shade on you. I'm working on voice techniques. The effects are going to have, so I'm going to really lower my voice when I do Pluto live stream, so it just comes down from, I'm going to do that kind of thing. Let's get to the transits, okay? So earlier today, we had Neptune station retrograde here. I'm going to use what I have on the screen, which is now on the screen. Let's point it out here. We have 2 major planetary stations within days here that happen in the sign of Pisces. You see the station that's happened earlier today. Officially, it happened at 3:40 a.m. Pacific time. And fascinating because of what it did just in the early morning hours with the moon, because the moon was going to get to a point of basically sextiling Neptune when it was in Taurus at 29 degrees. Before that, the moon in the middle of the night was conjunct Uranus. That's a pretty bold moves right there with the moon to hit outer planetary bodies like this. And then now, obviously, we're in the Gemini moon, but that happened at 3:40 a.m. Listen, it's always interesting when the word Neptune comes up in astrology and to try to explain something like this. And for me, I'm always grappling, and I always will. But the only thing I could tell you from what I've been feeling is not a stagnation, but just like if we were in, let's just make this sort of feel good. If we were in the Mediterranean, it's really salty there if you've ever been, and sometimes you don't even know how to have to swim. You could just float on the salt water, especially in Greece, like the times I've been in Greece. So anyway, but if you think sometimes let's say you took a long time ago, you did some ecstasy, and then you were in a warm pool. And you were just moving through this jelly, and it actually could feel really good. I'm trying to do a feel-good spin on this. Please don't go take ecstasy and do this. You got to be careful because your body overheats. Just don't do this. I'm not plugging that. Anyway, I'm giving you things that have come up for me today. And, the movement, the slowing down, but in water, it's just its own time scheduling. And I think our bodies can actually move to the mundane world of the time scheduling. We get up, we do this, you're working from home or you're going to work, you're doing it. But on another level, it's not. It's just standstill in this warm gelatinous place, at least for me. And then what happens in that place if you were aware of it or if you're paying attention to it? And, if time seems to dissolve or is not quite there, especially with Saturn and Pisces stationing and not moving, it hasn't been moving for a while, but it's officially not there. What the hell is time in itself? Like, in Pisces, I don't have to smoke a joint or do anything to have contemplation to think about what the hell's time and existence and time and what the hell it means. A lot of times, though, in those situations, when one tries to push and try to move forward in that space, there's confusion. And I think confusion, then what people do with confusion is up to them. Consciously, subconsciously, what they do with it. Hold up. I didn't plan on this. What they do with it. So if we're moving in this space and you don't know, some people are comfortable with that space. They actually don't like to deal with the real mundane world. They're used to being in a space like this. Other people aren't, or they used to be and they've been figuring it out. But what do you do when time stops and everything gets weird and veils dissolve? So I could see how someone say, oh, it's a spiritual moment. Oh, it's the recognition or needing to recognize how we drift away and come back. And that the retrograde story in Saturn and Neptune will be what this is, of what we're connected to and what we're not connected to within ourselves and to the world. And how we give form to the way we connect and how we don't, how we disappear or fantasize or drift away. And come back. Things aren't clear. And so technically, supposedly, during the retrograde process, when Saturn goes 4.5 months and then they'll station forward and Neptune will in December, that hopefully things will be clear by the beginning of next year in the Pisces part of your chart. So the journey ahead is wandering through this gelatinous place and swimming through it, and seems to be going a back current and you were going forward. Now it feels like you're going backwards, or which direction are you going? That is what has been moving through me. And I, obviously you could say stuff in the chat of what you think about this keyword. I love you all when you do that kind of stuff, but it's just an interesting weekend to have these two stationary things happen. And, after moving through the last couple weeks here, we're almost 2 weeks. We're almost 2 weeks because we got the new moon here happening in a couple days. We're almost from the solstice. We've had a lot of water Cancer energy along with the Pisces and with some Taurus stuff. It's slow. It's a different pace. Slow. Things are slowed down in one sense, right? So from the internal perspective, which I have a tendency to look at when we deal with Pisces and stuff, Saturn and Neptune, I am thinking, I've been there. And I'm like, I got to do this task, or I have to do this. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't even finish the fucking sentences. I can't even do it the last so many days. I wanted to put a video out for Saturn station for each rising sign. I actually wrote the whole thing out. I just didn't care. I just let it go. I'm like, and that was the other part of it. At least for me, and maybe for some of you, it are situations. Listen, I have an 11th house Pisces. Remember, it's how I deal with all of you, my supporters, my followers, my patrons, for my dreams and aspirations of the 11th house. I'm supposed to fulfill the connection with you all. You all support me. But for me, I couldn't even fulfill it. And I had to stop. And I was like, wait a second. Don't push this. And it's not the time to push this. My astrology says when it's Saturn and Neptune are stationing, you're going to go look at where it is. Time is tripping. It's not functioning the way it is, at least for a little bit. And so for me, I took my own advice and I remembered it's all good. It's when the time comes, when I feel there, I feel buoyant and alert at least. There's always supposed to do. There's always that. Now, that's my story. Wherever it is for you, to gauge that this week, next couple weeks. Gauge it. You don't have to push the Pisces story, and almost can't here with it. And you'll have some supportive aspects with some of the things here, but just feel that out. Remember that here, when we look at what Mars is doing, we pretty much this week are going to do a Mars Saturn sextile. We're going to talk about this, and they're both retrograde, and Mars is going to do this eventually with Neptune. And here is the good retooling mechanism and tool of Mars and Taurus. And listen, Mars and Taurus is stubborn ass, but I'll tell you, the pace that it goes at, it's need to be sure in what it does, and plodding along at a certain pace. Take advantage of this. Okay, if you can give yourself the excuse, if it's not an excuse anymore, but tell yourself from the Taurus to the Pisces part of your chart to go, oh, this is the pace that I can do, and I cannot do it anymore, regardless of expectations, regardless of what the world's trying to do. You have to manage that, and you got to pull certain responsibilities off wherever it is. But at the same time, remind yourself, not just today or this week with the stations, but remind yourself here for a little bit here, all the way we get to the new moon this week and after, that we're in not sludgy waters. I'm just trying to make it feel good. More a nice warm pool that we should not rush to leave, and just whatever comes up in that nice warm gelatinous pool, we accept and move and process. Nadia, I want to say hi, and then I'm really going to get going on this. Nadia, thanks for being a subscriber to my channel, and thank you for the super chat with a cool 8-bit video game emoji. How do you know I've been playing video games? How did they know this? Because I started playing the other night. That's what I did, by the way, the other night. Instead of working on the video, I'll be honest, I turned on my video machine. I haven't in 8 months. Neptune stationed at 3:40 a.m. An hour later, we had this, and the reason why I'm thinking positive about this and where you can catch the messages was earlier today, and it's still floating around, that before Mercury went into Leo, it was at 29 degrees Cancer, and it was trining this Neptunian place, and the veils, that's what I'm talking about. And I still think it's this way, that the veils were thin in a great way of acceptance of what comes through, not with the actual word that I'm saying or what's calculated in your head, but what you're feeling through your psychic, intuitive body, and how it comes through Mercury. And it just so happens to go through there, and next thing you know, you have a Mercury ingress in the Leo. I think to put form in a sense of fixedness to this, to take what was initiated verbally with Cancer, because Cancer is a cardinal initiatory sign, with the blessing and the intuitive power of Neptune from this emotional place, and brings it into the expressive place of Mercury in Leo. And knowing that we're waxing towards an opposition with Pluto right now, and here we're dealing with not just any old word, we're dealing with the truth. The truth that's been going through watery, deep places, that it's come up now here in an expressive Leo way, and it's unearthed, and there's power in this. Possibly an obsession of getting to take something that happened in this watery place that was connected to Neptune and to bring it out. But it's not just any old word. It's not just any old thought, right? We have to remember that Pluto always has an influence on whatever it connects to, and it's a powerful influence. If it feels like it's coming on you or with you is what you have to determine. And when it comes to the promises that we've made, it doesn't necessarily have to be my promise, right, that I've come up with, but what that is, we want to speak to it and speak words to power. Use words as power. Now, does one manipulate and obsess and do power manipulative moves? Those situations happen like this with a Pluto opposite Mercury. The other thing is speaking truth to power for yourself. So the promise that you made months ago to yourself, what it is, here we are. It's a testing moment. It's a testing moment. It's a place for you to express yourself. And this even gets into deeper places for those who are Venus and Leo, who went through the Venus and Leo retrograde last year. We're getting into the realm here this summer and later when Venus goes into Leo, where it's the first time Mercury is going to be in Leo and Venus is going to be in Leo since what happened last year with the retrograde. So for those of you really affected by that, here you are. You've been on a journey, and like, let's show us what you got, you know? Mercury, Pluto, in the end, It likes to get into the bottom of things. And regardless of the story, if it's intense or not, that's what it is. And a little movement. So I'll get to everybody in chat in a bit, but going in. Again, I want to thank you for the super chat. So basically, we had Mercury go into Leo at 5:50 a.m. earlier with a wild 2 hours of the Neptune station with Mercury trine Neptune at the last degrees, and then Mercury ingress at 5:50 a.m. Pacific. And here we are in the Gemini moon currently that you see. And then we are not done because we had the sun square the nodes. Cardinal sun, we'll talk about that. And then we are a couple hours away from, let's do it, and we'll get a roll on. It's warm in this room. It's about to be 100 degrees this week where I am. It's wild. We've been waiting for this. So let's do this. The next main aspect I want to talk about is actually a trine. So we're going to look to Venus at 19 degrees-ish. And Saturn, which is right there at 6:41. This is happening as we speak. It's another reason why I went live today at this time is we have Venus in Cancer with trining stationed Saturn here, where, again, everything is a standstill here. There's constructive, something that always happens with Saturn, but when Saturn is stuck like this, it's more just like we're standing here and we're relating to each other, and it's good. It's decent. Like, it's a good way for Saturn to start the retrograde station, okay? So, we bring a form and chill reality. Not chill as in cold, chill as in street talk, like mellow reality to things, to understand how we're feeling in the relational realm, what we desire in the relational realm with Venus and Cancer, what we've been working on the last couple of weeks with the Venus and Cancer transit. So Saturn here is not putting the authoritative clamp down it would with other situations. It's more like a really good checkpoint for Venus and Cancer. And so it's like they're having a really easily chill relating situation here, and we're there right now. I like to remember that about staying focused with Saturn in the discipline that's involved, and not make it discipline where it's discipline hard, oh, I got to do this thing, or it's whatever. It's like, no, we're good. We're actually happy that Saturn is stationed retrograde, and it doesn't have to do anything forward moving. At this point, it's more of a check-in place, and that it's cool to be in the check-in place, that there's no expectation at this point to do something because of the timing that's involved, the slow time. So remember that. If you're affected by this or whatever, about your Venus and Cancer, you have Cancer birthdays, your Cancer rising, that we like chill and mellow. We don't want to leave the shell. We like to feel supported in the shell, and Saturn and Pisces is doing this. Now, there's a couple things that are off here because of the retrograde station, but we will remember 19 degrees down the line when Jupiter and Gemini will square this, and down the line when we hit cardinal places, when other planets like Mars and Taurus is going to hit and go in through Gemini and eventually go through Cancer in September and get to these places. And you have to remember here that Mars is going to do a massive retrograde cycle in Cancer. So these are important degrees that will be gone over 3 times from this year all the way till spring. And that's where the real deal comes in. But for right now, we have a nice check-in with Venus and Saturn. And as I pointed out here, you could see 17 degrees Mars and Taurus. We are waxing here in a sextile aspect with Venus, which we will talk about officially. And so, yes, let's go, because I started off on some Plutonian meditation trip or whatever I did in this stream. Canada Dry. I come to you with gifts. Thank you, Canada Dry. I was always taught to never show up empty-handed. Oh, I appreciate your presence, Wingman. Thank you, Canada Dry. Good to see you, by the way. And thank you for the super chat. Always give props to you, Canada Dry. And I know you're doing your thing, regardless of what's happening in your world or whatever. Remember the gifts. Remember the talents. And stick to your game. Stick to your game. I also want to say hi to Roofrog. Thank you for a super chat here. I'm going to hit you up right here. I love these names, man. These usernames. Like just, and it's funny how I know some of you, but I forget the real names, but I know your usernames. Thank you, Canada Dry, and thank you, Roofrog, for the frog and rainbow. And let me see something here. Earlier today, did I? Hold up a second. Oh, let's see if I could do this. Hello, hello, hello. Is that working? No. I'm trying to bust a move here. Oh, that's what it's gonna. That's a toad. I'll find the frog noises next time. Hey, Kiara. Hey, good to see you in chat, Kiara. Sending love to you also on the other side of the world. I'll get to the chat. Let's keep going here, so we're on a Saturn-Venus trip. We just did Saturn-Venus moment, so thanks for connecting with me, y'all, and supporting my world and my channel and what I'm doing. And honestly, so the donations today, they're actually going to go to taking care of my body. Honestly, I'm getting adjusted tomorrow. I need it. A fan for the room to keep it cool. That's it. Survival, basically. So, but yeah, let's keep going here. So basically, we talked about Saturn, blah, 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 blah. Let's get to the official chart for mañana. And this is, where is everything is discombobulated? There it is. That's how you do that. I noticed something on my desktop I've never done before. Let's go here to Mercury opposite Pluto. Since we already talked about it, but let's just officially bust a move here. I got to do chapter markers for this. Not tonight. Whatever. There is official Mercury opposite Pluto at 12:26 in the middle of the night Pacific time on the 3rd. It could be happening. Well, it's mostly the 3rd for everybody. If you're thinking about all you down under, if you're 16 hours away from me, this will still happen on the 3rd, just later. So Pluto and Mercury just have a connection, just any old connection, just to get into the bottom of things, like we talked about earlier on the stream. So let's keep going. Moon, let's just point this out. You could see here, and actually, I'm glad this came up. You could see the moon here in Gemini conjunct Jupiter. Let's pause for a second here, because a month ago, more than a month ago, when Jupiter went in the end of May into Gemini, then we had this Cancer stuff happen. I talked about on a stream and even some Instagram posts, the movement every month that we will have for at least now until while Jupiter's in Gemini, when there's the Moon-Jupiter conjunction that happens. Okay, this one in particular, it's another reason why I went on the stream, because I have a 9-degree Mercury in Gemini conjunct Aldebaran. This is a major Aldebaran moment that's happening right now. I talked to somebody today. I'll mention Tides of Tez. If you know who this person is, we had a quick thing, and they're like, Aldebaran's rising now, or so on and so forth. It's present. Here we have this moment we're going to do every month where Moon and Jupiter are going to do their conjunction. And remember when this first started to happen, when we had the Gemini week with the lunation where people were like, I'm overloaded. And so we got to remember here, if we're going to be overloaded here with a Pluto-Mercury opposition that rules this Moon-Jupiter placement that we're dealing with right now as we do the stream, and as of tomorrow. And we have to remember that this will be a thing we're always will be doing, but remember that the moon after Gemini will go into Cancer, and it will make those connections to Saturn and Pisces and to Neptune eventually. So the 5-day movement from Cancer, Moon in Gemini to moon in Cancer, remember your process. Remember what to do if it's overloaded mercurially in your nervous system, in your brain, and then how you move into the Cancer archetype. And we've been having these lessons to do here ever since that week with the end of the Gemini birthdays into the last couple of weeks with Cancer. We've been trying to maneuver this, and we will do this every month. You're basically being trained by the stars the last couple of weeks of how to do this transition. We're in the middle of it here tomorrow when we have a Moon-Jupiter conjunction that is ruled by the Mercury-Pluto unearthing that happens. That Moon-Jupiter is going to happen at 12:04 a.m., and then it's 22 minutes later that we officially do Mercury-Pluto. And let us keep going. We will, okay, you guys, today, wow. Adrian P., thank you for the super chat, my friend. Good to see you here again. You're one of my peoples here. Adrian, thank you. Thank you so much for the support and all that. Super chat 699. And then Kiara says, Aldebaran is conjunct my moon. Nice. It's big couple days here for us, for you, Kiara. And Francis W. with a super chat had to send this for your fan. Oh. Hate to see someone suffering in the heat. Feel your birth baths too, everybody. That is right. That's good. Okay. I'm going to set something up outside here. And I haven't made friends. I'm in a weird spot where I just moved with the crows yet and stuff. They're around. Trust me. I could hear them all the time. And, fledglings are out there, so I hear them constantly waiting to be fed. But thank you for the good call out about water outside. And that goes for us humans. Got to drink water in the heat. Adrian P. and Francis W., thank you for the super chat. Gracias and for the support. Kiara says in chat, sounds so basic, but grounding barefoot has never been more essential. That's a good remediation, actually. Being barefooted on the ground with the Taurus energy and with the water and keeping things here balanced. All right, so basically we did this. We're going to get into the 4th. I'm not going to show it up on here, even though I could do it by the day. Let's just do it, and then we'll just do it. We have it. No, not yet. So we'll go by the hour here, and we're going to blaze through. And we're going to go ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. We're going to go. This is a big week for me transit-wise. It's relentless. We could see here on the 4th of July, holiday here in the United States of stupid booms. I'm thinking about the pets. I don't have any pets, and I'm thinking about them, and I'm thinking about people who just want quiet and they got to deal with explosions. But the moon goes into Cancer at 1:51 p.m. on the Thursday Pacific time. And again, remember the transition from Gemini moon to Cancer moon, and know it and use it. Okay, so that's what we do. We're getting into a sweet spot here. I will do it. I'll do it this way. I'll. How did I do this? We'll go straight to here, and this is 3-4. But we'll point out something. On the 5th, when we get there, at noontime is what we have right here, which is the focal point of the week of this lunation. But we officially here have Mars in Taurus, I mentioned earlier, is making a sextile to Saturn in stationary Pisces. This 19-degree spot is huge for mutable people this whole year and into next year. If you have mutable anything at 19 degrees, 18, 19, 20, this degree is so huge and prevalent. I have a 20-degree Gemini sun. Slow down, Nicholas. It's my thing. So I'm figuring that out. I think my life's really going to fundamentally change in the next so many months. I'm telling clients this too, like to understand the pacing of things, right? Depending on how one normally paces themselves. So here, though, we have a fundamental moment here with Mars, Saturn sextile. And here we get a focused, slow, concentrated energy between the traditionally malefics, and here's where we have a superb check-in between water and earth, where one can ground themselves and find a way if they are emotionally scattered and emotionally intense. Because listen, even though we are looking at the new moon that happens at 3:57 Pacific here, we see this at 14 degrees, we do have a still lingering connection of what the Taurus stuff is doing here. We have Mars, sense, kind of waning away from the new moon degree. And we also have this connection too. The same thing you could say with Saturn, this water and earth around. The only thing about this is Cancer moons in general, I think for me as being heavily air, can still be, even on paper, if they're a little bit kind of intense in a good way or have supportive aspects, it's still intense. I think it just depends on the person. From what I was reading today, a couple other people I was reading, this moon in particular is way out of bounds, as they say. And so in a sense, when a planet is out of bounds, it kind of doesn't have any filters. It kind of doesn't have it, right? So the moon's kind of been like this and how we've been dealing with the sky. So that is the thing here that's kind of funky with all this. But again, use for the lunation. Remember, you have Mars and Saturn that are there for you. Pretty good. Pretty good. And again, water and earth, it seems to be the byline of this channel, really in the end, is water and earth, maybe because I particularly always need more water and earth combinations and remediations in my world. And I think more than ever, when we deal with who we are as people and the technology and what we do, I was reading this article today and finished it about like, supposedly we're going to lose more of our sight by 2050. More population can be myopic, that their vision's messed up. And it's because of living on screens all the time, eventually, and not getting enough sunlight in your eyes, and what it does, because sunlight triggers healing processes through your retina. All this crazy stuff. I haven't finished this yet, but it was making me think about how we're living and how nature itself, but especially the water and earth part of it, of combining the two, are actually so fundamental, I think, for us as people in the world, because of what's happened with technology. And if we have Jupiter and Gemini going on for this whole year, right, and these other things, to how we ground ourselves, how we put ourselves in a certain place. And this is a reminder here, I think, with this new moon in Cancer. With that is just an example of what Mars and Saturn are doing here, what it is to come into your physical body, to put, eventually, after processing emotions, to use. They have these emotional wheels. You can go look them on the internet, where there's like a list of things, and it's using with color, where it'll help you put words to your emotions. So you go, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm excited, instead of the different way of like the words to things, to feel it with color. And so I think a lot of times too, when we're in situations trying to process who we are, that not in our brain, because we're up here all the time. When we mix water and earth together, it actually brings in a different language that is inherent to us. It's through color and through sound and through touch, through our things. Me, Venus person, going to talk about this, but through our senses, where we can put and process it. Normally when we say process it, we process, and we're always thinking we have to put things in the words. Eventually we kind of do, but it runs on its own pace. But if we can just understand where we are in a present form, whatever we are, we use earth and water here and Mars and Saturn to do something like that, especially at the pace that they're at, both planets. So it just, some thoughts I had about this, and some things I wanted to say. The new moon is going to happen here 3:57 p.m. Pacific. Let us point something else out, though, that's happening on the back end of this. And I'm looking at my notes because I just realized I wrote emotional story can overflow. And why do I say that is because of something I want to point out here. And it's this Venus Chiron story that is sneaking in on this lunation. Where the hell is it? You could see here, though, it's exact that night, at least Pacific time, 11:32 p.m. Pacific. We have a Venus square Chiron story that's happening. It goes into the 6th for a lot of people. This is kind of sneaky. I think this really is more for those who are directly affected by the degrees here, and or they have the major eclipse story that's happening in Libra and Aries in their life, right? You were affected this spring with the eclipses. So we're in interesting places here with the Chiron story, and the Venus connection here is funky. It's not the best. Then you're going to add you're going to add, it's a new moon in Cancer, and the feeling part of it, depending on who you are, you could get rubbed the wrong way. And I think this is here where feelings are sensitive and raw and can overflow. It all depends on your individual path and process in this Chiron story, a cardinal story, but eclipse story. Gauge it. Remind yourself when we get into the new moon on Friday. And remember, new moons, we're not necessarily seeing it. Kind of happening for several days until the crescent pops out, and sometimes things really pop then when it's visually crescent out of the phase there. So I think about that all the time. So yeah, I see in chat someone said, "Oh, cool, Aries." I like how you said, "Oh, cool, Aries Libra story come back." Oh yeah, super cool. It is. For some, they're gonna be like, "Fuck, I don't want to deal with this anymore." You got more eclipses here. They're going to do Aries Libra here, mixed with some Pisces here in the fall, but that's farther down the line. Let's keep going. Leo moon kicks in on the Saturday, which, remember, we're going to do moon opposite Pluto. I won't talk about the other aspects. You can look at that. We'll actually, let's just take a look at this really quick. And then we got a power pack day that's on the 8th. I want to get through this. And I'm an hour into the stream, so let me kick some ass here. So let me go right here. I'd sure like to know where we're going to go moon. I never do moon things here like this. No. What? Yeah, no, I got that right. I think we needed a quiet moment like that. I needed that quiet moment right there. I needed that. I've been 59 minutes straight talking. Here, let's just recognize this. So we have a Moon-Mercury conjunction that happens here on the Sunday, the 7th. Let's just point that out right over there. I just want to do that. It's also going to sextile Jupiter. You see right here, for those who are involved, like some of us in this Aldebaran story, whatever, we got this interesting. I actually like the Mercury vibes this week. Mercury's doing interesting things this week, as always. So, and let's get into that, because on the 8th, Let's bust a move here into the next thing on Monday, the 8th, at least Pacific time, at 4:04 a.m. We're going to go Venus. Huh. Ooh, this is hot, actually. Venus sextile Uranus. Hey, Venus and Cancer. Like, sure, I'd like to eat your baked bread. Anyway, so, hey, Holly, see you in chat. I got to say hi, everybody in chat at some point here. I'm getting close. I'm getting close to being done here. So we have this baked bread moment. What the fuck did I just come up with? Right there, Uranus sextile Venus. Exciting and new, huh? Is what this lunation is. I think Venus deserves this in Cancer. I think it's, again, more of a continuation of the Venus-Mars connection that has happened. For some reason, I'm thinking of sauces and oils and body paints. I don't know why when I'm looking at this. Maybe because I'm thinking about things that taste, or the things that give one nurturing in Venus and Cancer, and how we relate to that way. So the typical thing is like, if I was Venus and Cancer, is like, hey, you're my friend, or you're my partner, you're whatever, you're all of that. And come here, I want to make you feel comfortable. I notice you're stressed. Like, tell me how the way you're feeling. Like, tell me what's going on. And you're like, well, I got this task that I have to do. No. Like, tell me what you're feeling. and the process of that, how Venus and Cancer does it, there's the typical ways of doing this. Comfort and security and be mellow. But here with Uranus, kind of brings a little wild card to it. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this, right? So maybe we do this in the garden, or we're outside doing that grounded thing we were talking about. But a little exciting here, a little twist, a little. Have you ever catched anybody who is a Cancer sun or Venus and Cancer something? Like, they can be intense cardinal people. Like, there's the proud mama bear vibe. There's this whole thing, but they move intensely through the world. I think some of them have intense shells where, typically you would think they're opposite sign Capricorn, which is always Saturnian, this and that, but they have their own strong shell that they walk with. And I wouldn't mess with anybody like who has experience as a Cancer sun or Venus in Cancer, like mess with them in the wrong way, because they know where to go, where the sensitivity is, if need be. But that's not what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with the other side of it, of knowing where to go, though, experimentally, exciting and new, and from another angle. And this could be exciting. Hence, I said, hey, sure, I'll eat your baked bread. Or you cooked up this thing. Oh, that I've never seen you cook up that before. And all of a sudden, I'm paying attention. All of a sudden, I'm eating that meal with you, Venus and Cancer. And all of a sudden, I'm sharing with you what I'm feeling. And I'm feeling pretty good. And so here is what happens. I don't know. I can't believe I came up with that explanation. Holly says, it's all about a sourdough starter. Oh, man, there's this place down where I've lived. Only on Sundays for 3 hours, they open up the place, and it's sourdough everything. And it's so rocking that, there's a line. There's a line of people waiting. It's going to be 100 degrees this week. I don't know if they're going to be waiting there for that. But hell, I'll wait for anything that tastes good. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so that's what's up. We have that Venus Uranus sextile that happens, and several hours later, you could see building up in a chart here with Mercury is at 9 degrees, and then you have what I mentioned earlier, officially the Mercury fire and air sextile. I have 2 major sextile here. They're concentrated. They cover all the elements. It's pretty cool. And so 7:26 a.m. Pacific, Mercury sextile Jupiter. Oh, wow, is Mercury popping off after the moon is conjuncted, after its meeting with Pluto. And it is vibrant, intense, and expressive. And it's Jupiter and Gemini. You ever in a room with Geminis and Leos, they like to have good trouble. I think Leo loves the stimulation that Gemini brings, because Leos in general, I think, love stimulation of all kinds, honestly, especially if they're in the center point of it all. And Gemini could be in the center point, the midpoint, the outer point. They're all the points all at the same time, and they flow with Leo all the time. They just have this interesting relationship in general, and they're fueling each other here, and a lot is said. And if you look at the Mars-Uranus thing and all this too, this is pretty good to have all the elements involved. And let's just say this, I don't give a shit about the other aspects of this, but when we go into Sunday and the Monday for this, we take advantage of it, enjoy this, because it's like you have all the elements involved and they're all flowing in their own way. And so it's kind of a nice little party right here, okay? And even though the party's happening on Sunday, it's also happening on Monday officially. I would look at it that way. I feel really good about the baked sourdough bread starter and the conversations that happen with all the elements at the table. And we never get to have stuff like this, where it's pointed out. So, it's a thing where just check it, okay? Just we like to celebrate moments like this. I'm going to get to some chat because I'm seeing stuff in chat. So we're going to continue because Mercury here, and I will point out, I'm just going to keep it on this chart. I don't want to keep going through, but we're also going to point out Mercury's, you see at 9 degrees here. See how Mercury's a player this week? Venus and Mercury are there. We have all the lunation and new moon, but Mercury's doing all these moves this week, okay? So Mercury trine the nodes now, and we had Sun square the nodes with Cancer, but here we have Mercury trine the north node and sextiling the south node here. It's going on. So, hey, it's not all messed up with the Chiron story deal, okay, and the nodal thing. It's pretty good. Work through it. You see why I'm digging Mercury being in the Leo this week in the start, even though we start with Pluto Mercury. Okay, let's just do this over. We did Mercury trine Neptune earlier today. We did Mercury in the Leo, Gemini moon that we're in, Mercury opposite Pluto on the 3rd. We go Mars sextile Saturn on the new moon. And then we go Mercury sextile Jupiter, Mercury trine north node on Monday the 8th. I'm not going to keep going past that. I'm not going to do that. But just is a something coming up, know that at this point you could see we're getting close here to Venus going in the Leo here, and that's going to pop in I'll just say it. When the hell does it happen? Why am I not? July 11th, Mars goes into Gemini. Whew. And then we start rolling. We'll actually start rolling even though things seem slowed down. No. If they're slowed down with Saturn Neptune station, if you look at what's happening with the other planets, they're moving along and they're pushing a story. And Mercury into Leo, which you should know we're really going towards a Mercury retrograde down the line that's going to start in Virgo and go back. And the interesting thing about all this is how Mars is trailing behind the rest of the planets and bringing things in the Mars way too. So the Mars in Gemini, once that starts to kick in, we're going to really get rambunctious, mutable wise into the rest of the summer. We got interesting things that are going to happen with Mars, Jupiter, and Venus in Virgo is going to be opposite Saturn. We're going to have these like mutable T-squares that are going to happen. We still have a lunation that's going to happen again in Capricorn. So anyway, let me get here because I want to do something here. Canada Dry. Whoa, you just threw in with the 5 hearts. It's super chat. Thank you, Canada Dry. Cheers. Wow. Thank you. And I saw Mila Resin says, wish I could afford to give you more. It's the thought, really. It's all of you people. I mean, donation helps me out. Obviously, it does. But, thank you, Mila. And it gave you like sky blue right there. It gave you sky blue. Let's do it. I have a couple things here. I'm not going to be too long here, but I was just kind of saying about movement, about what's happening. We're in a slow thing here this past weekend, a couple days, but then we're going to start ramping up to some interesting transits down the line. So the things that I pointed out, like the sextiles this week, certain things like that, really stay and feel yourself in the water earth place while it's here, because after that, it starts to get a little wild once Mars goes into Gemini, that is for sure. So, it's going to really kick in, and you're going to have to remember the water-earth connection for you to deal with a lot of this stuff. I'm saying as a major air person who can handle this stuff, I'm setting up my life to have water and earth every day at some point in my life. And if they can continue to play soccer and football with the Euro Cup and the Copa America the way it's been, I'm happy, even when I'm dealing with work. So anyway, Go was my first person in chat today, along with Anne-Marie Rigg and Laura Leah and Yelena. Hello to you. Tara and GRP Jelly, James Sanders, who was in here, along with Roof Frog and Wake Me From This. Angela, Dora Destroy, I saw you earlier. Stephanie King, just acknowledging you. Scorpio Muse remembers me, and I remember you. And who else? 11T's limping along with it. I remember when you said that earlier in the stream. Jendi, hey, what's up, Jendi? Hi. Yelena was reminded of a promise and broke it, but you remember. Hi, Danny. Danny is here today. Along, who else? Isha, hey. Hi, Isha. Creatrix. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Creatrix, how are you? Elisa Lynn and Jagger. I see the both of you here. What's up, Jagger? Who else I got? Leanne Patterson. K. Michelle. What's up? And I have another K who mentioned, and to speak truth is love with courage, speaking from full hearts of hearts, aware, skillful Mercury in Leo. Well said, Kay. I really like what you said right there. That's a really good way to put it. Yeah, I dig you. I dig you all because you got your own astrology way, and I honor it. Go is here, and Adrian P. and Jan Halverson, 11th house Pisces too. Okay, you're Taurus rising. Nadia, I saw. Oh, Takia Alexander, what's up? If you're still here, hi. What's up? Good to see you. Who else? I know that people never go on the chat. Francis W. here. Kiara, Jamie Smith. Hey, Jamie, what's up? Enjoy the weather, huh? It's finally come for us here. Holly's late, but you're not late. This is how we roll here. Okay, I think I got through Mila and Kay. Breezing through. And the lilac tree. What's up, lilac tree? God, think about that, a lilac tree. James, I know I say it a lot, but your storytelling and knowledge has inspired my journey so positively. Thank you for everything, Nicholas. I promise. That's right, James. You promise, man. You don't have to promise me, dude. You're promising yourself. That's the most important thing. You stick to the promise, okay? You stick to your own promise, people. That's all you got. It's all you need, right? Well, we need more than that. We need community, right? But if I think about this a little bit, if I think about at least with the Mercury Pluto thing that has to do with the promise. There is our individual selves in the promise, but I've been doing this ritual with you as a community. And so when we think about the Leo Aquarius archetypes and what happens there, who we are and how we are present in community and how we are in our individual and authentic selves and how we could speak to that in the group or in the situation and our growth in that in the long Pluto story. But when we have something like Mercury here come in Leo, what we have to say, what we have to express, and like, someone said here, with your heart, right? So, if to keep it simple, it's like, yeah, if Pluto stories are intense, you know how I roll. I'm pretty intense and I come across that way. But for what it is from the Leo Aquarius perspective and how they can work each other in an opposition and how they learn from each other's languages, here in that Pluto Mercury moment, that expression, if done with Plutonian power, can mean everything. And speak truth to power within yourself and the promise you make yourself, or those that you connect with who support you in that way and who support your thought process and expressional process, and uplifts that and creates the space for that. And if it isn't that way, then try to create it for yourself, and if it's reciting the promise, if it's reciting this of like, I'm prepared. Basically what we're talking about here when I'm doing this to myself is I'm prepared. I'm saying I'm prepared. I'm preparing the space for me to be me. And I'm talented enough in this space that I'm prepared, that I have been preparing, that I have been working on and decorating. And not only that, when it gets to doubting what I prepare, it's like, no, it is what it is in the moment. And I trust the space that I prepared for myself. I trust the mantras. I trust me. So it's like how you stand in your autonomous space, but at the same time, how you step out or when being seen or how you speak your truth to power in your space and other spaces. So it's one way to look at this Mercury-Pluto thing here this week and a good check-in point, I think, for all this. So, yeah, Canada Dry, you're on a roll here because that's how you do. I know how you do things. You're on a roll, and I love giving. Canada Dry says with another super chat, I love giving skulls. It's so fun. I never know when to stop. Moon Jupiter native here. Well, your Moon Jupiter is in play, and thank you. And so yeah, just think about things that way with this Moon Pluto thing. Let's do something random before I go. I picked up wild garage sale, and I picked up a crazy amount of tarot decks. I couldn't believe it. One of them I picked up was this deck called the Herbal Tarot. Let me, I can't help it. I haven't even looked at this deck yet, but it's Herbal Tarot. I picked it up at this garage sale. It's like $2. So let's just pick one and see what the hell happens. Because I have no clue what the hell that is. And let's just pick it. And so it's 4 pentacles. It's pretty good right there. Look at the leaves. I wonder. Oh, you could see right there. It's got the name. What does that say? Cassava Basque? What does that say? There's a little outhouse in the back there. What's going on with the outhouse over here? He's like, listen, I'm going to chill here, and I got to go to the bathroom afterwards just in case, knowing that I don't know. Like, what's going on over here? So let's just see what it says in this thing. What did I pick? 4 pentacles in this deck. then I'm out of here because it's getting hot, and I might work on something else. I think, did I do? Why is it not in here? 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 4. Casara bark. It's a tonic. It's a laxative. That's why. Yeah, that's why there's the outhouse over here. Promotes bowel movements and the discharge of bile from the liver and generally cleanses the intestinal tract. Divinatory meanings and mobility, clinging to old things that are no longer needed. I see. They do a reverse meaning. I don't do reversals in tarot. So I'm not going to do them on air. So do I need fiber in my diet? Anyway, so that's what's up with that. Kind of, it's interesting to get it to the root of things in one way, because I have a Cancer IC, so I have all these Cancer transits happening at the bottom of my chart. Maybe that's part of what you do at the bottom of your chart. It's like you got to push things out. 12th house, you're doing stuff like that too in a different way. But yeah, okay. So anyway, so I picked up this. I have no clue. This is some playing cards. Night Sky, playing with constellations. Let's see what the hell this is. I haven't even opened this up. It was just like $2. I couldn't believe it. I picked up crazy astrology books there. I picked up the Liz Green's Neptune book. Just so happened on Neptune Station, the hardcover. I already have softcover. Okay, so they're actual playing cards. You could see here. So I'm just going to pick one and see what the hell constellation I get right here. Let's see what the hell's going on. The Little Lion. Leo Minor. Huh. Give me a second. Meet the constellation. I just looked up something as ancients visualized first the constellations drawing dot-to-dot figures, blah, blah, blah. We were left with stretches of space between the well-known and bright stars, dark territories at a few stars, etc. One of these dark regions is Leo Minor, the Little Lion. Huh. Interesting. Hard constellation to find. Ursa Major and its Big Dipper lie above Leo Minor, and the Great Lion Leo lies below it. You can see the constellation in April and May from either hemisphere. I see. Okay, cool. And there it is right there. I just want to take a look at that. Anyway. Thank you, Holly. Thank you. That's a nice comment in chat. Today looks good on me. Yeah, that's what I got to say so myself. I was like, I actually had, last so many days were just kind of whatever. And today I woke up somewhat okay. And let's do the stream. Plus, Jupiter is on my Mercury, my Aldebaran. That's another thing. And I'm working on something on the background that is major, and I need that focus there. So, okay, so there's that. Let's just do this really quick. And because this is how I do things, I have to stick to it. Listen, you haven't subscribed to my channel. I never do call to actions on here. You subscribe to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. Follow me. Hit the bell. When you hit the bell, by the way, when you hit the bell, make sure you hit all, because that's how you know when I go live. And it's not perfect. It's not perfect the way it happens, but is this going to work or not? Dude, why is my browser tripping? For some reason you want to buy this deck, you can go here. It's in chat. Okay. I get nothing. Amazon, I'm doing it because I should be doing it, It's like these things with the fucking affiliate links, but honestly, you need a lot of sales to get whatever, especially with books and tarot. It's like, I do it, but anything helps. I'm not complaining. they could be giving a better cut, but at the same time, they're shorting everybody out. That's why I'm going here right now, because if it's even here. And there it is right there. And I'll give you the bookshop link to all this, to my bookshop thing right there. I'm going to add this to my lists right there, to my YouTube live streams there, and I'll drop it for there. Good to see you, Mila. Thanks for being here today. And for all of you here, maybe took off after I did the actual forecast, which is, I still got a bunch of you in here today. That is, that's a chart. But that was the Herbal Tarot that I brought up here. Actually, a really cool deck. I'm glad I picked it up. Yeah, so that's what's up. Okay, time for me to go. I need to take care of things. I need to go to the bathroom. Just shit, this is fucking funny, man. What a funny way of doing cards, like to combine things. It's just like, what is this telling me? I have to think. Bile. That's what it's telling me. I got to research bile. So that's what I got to do. So, hey, what's up? Thanks for everybody jumping in on an impromptu stream. Okay, here's the deal. My books are closed for 10 days here. I need the break. But if you were thinking about booking, you still can after the first week of July or past that. So, I'm not going to say I could still do readings, but I'm going to be busy anyway with another thing that I'm working on project-wise. Speaking of, let's do this really quick, actually, and I'm going to show you something. As some of you know, I work behind the scenes with ISAR, an astrology organization, and we just announced yesterday our Taste of ISAR weekend that's happening on the 20th and 21st of July. And it happens that day. I'll be there behind the scenes. You might see in my camera a bunch of the board members, but we got Cameron Allen that's going to be speaking. Jen Zard, who's the president of ISAR, is going to be talking with Daniel Norman. We have Nick Campion, if you know who Nick is, a big astrological researcher professor. He's going to do discussion about researching astrology in academia. He's the director of the Sophia Center. If you go look them up, they're having a conference soon. Stormy Grace is going to be on there talking about stuff. We're going to do live chart readings with several astrologers, Patricia Walsh, Patrick Watson, who's the CAP ISAR part of ISAR, who deals with the testing and the research. This is all happening on the 20th and the 21st. So that's what I'm working on behind the scenes, because I have to do the social media links in the chat. I will also show you the registration, and the cost is $18 for both days, 12 each day. Wow. Yeah, I'll put that registration link there. And there's other things that are happening there. We're trying to promote it as not just a regular webinar weekend. So the slots that are happening there, they're shorter. They're shorter, and there'll be places and times where we'll be wanting you, if you're into this weekend, for you to be talking and being in the chat. We might do breakout rooms. We don't know yet, but that thing of trying to twist the Zoom thing, it's not straight Zoom, they have more interaction with people. And not only that, I can't really say, but there's something here before this weekend that's going to happen with the organization that we are about to put out there for those of you to exchange and interact, let's say, for you to be a part of it in a community sense. So those are things that are happening here in the next couple of weeks. Part of the reason I need to take a break is to take care of myself, but at the same time, I have to help promote this. I'm promoting it right now. Jen Zart, did a thing on territory progressions on the Kepler channel there with, I think, recently, and doing a class, I think, with Cameron, not Cameron Allen, but another Cameron. So that's what's happening there. I thought I'd mention this. And there's more to that. Asdrubal, and we're going to do these things quarterly, actually, is the plan. But it's our first Taste of ISAR event that's happening. For those who are members of ISAR right now, you also know you get access to 500 webinars. I just put up the rest of the ones the last couple days. Fixed Star by Michael, webinar by Fixed Stars by Michael Barwick. It was really good. It's up there. If you're not a member, you can go to the website, join. It's $70 a year or something like that. You get access to an immense library and a lot of other things. Okay, so that's what I'm kind of doing right there. I'm also, if depending on what happens to me in the next 24 hours, I don't think I'm it's going to get hot here, but I think tomorrow I'm going to go live again. And if I do it right, you're going to see it pop up. And I'm specifically going to go live talking about the chart of a very famous footballer and soccer player whose name is Cristiano Ronaldo, as you know. I was already planning on talking about him a little bit because of the Euro Cup that is happening right now. But yesterday's game with Portugal was such a mind blower and so crazy dramatic, especially with him in there, with certain thing that happened with him that I've never seen ever happen. It made me go, can I do a live stream? I'll look at his chart. I'll be a free flow. I don't know yet if I want to do this. Portugal is playing France on Friday. I think I might not be around. So if I do the stream about Cristiano's chart, I might do it on the fly tomorrow at some point if I do it, or it might be a regular video. Okay. So saying that, I want to say goodbye to everybody in chat. Just make sure I say hi to everybody. Takia Alexander, if you're asking about the ISAR thing, when you join, if you pay for the weekend, you'll get a Zoom link to that weekend. That's how it works. And the Zoom link will probably be given to people who paid a week before, several days before the weekend, the webinar weekend, and then you'll get the link. Oh, I see. Yeah, and hopefully we'll have a recording, could put it in the archives for those afterwards. I have to find out, like, if people buy in and they can't make it that weekend, will they have access to it? And I think we do, because usually our Star Club webinars, people aren't a member for ISAR and they pay $14.99. They get 30 days to watch it afterwards. Danny says that's a great, love to see combination of soccer and astrology. Oh my God, I'm a football freak. I'm a soccer freak. And there's a couple of other of us in the astrology world. Two people I can think about in particular who we were, that are too. Anyway, I see somebody wishing happy birthday to some. Oh, M, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, M. Yeah, nice. Happy birthday. Actually, let's look at something really quick. I don't know when your solar return is, but if it probably happened, I mean, here's the chart of now, but your solar return happened yesterday. It's interesting. Did your solar return happen before today's birthday? And do you have, in your solar return, do you have Mercury at 29 degrees Cancer trining Neptune? You know what I mean? There's this kind of funny things here if we look at this chart of right now. But if we look, let's just say it's yesterday, and we'll look here. Yeah, we have 29 if your solar return fell there. You have that moon in between Mars and Uranus, which is rambunctious right there. And if you pay attention here, I don't know exactly when your solar return chart is, but 21 degrees is the point of the Jupiter Uranus conjunction that happened on April 20th. Anyway, quick little thing there. Yeah, happy birthday. All right, everybody. Let's go out the way we go out. I mean, do I go out with I trust myself to go out this way, actually, like this. So I start that way, right? So let's just see. Mercury, Pluto, man. Mercury, Pluto. What is that? Oh no, maybe it's this. Oh man. Out to the outhouse. Thanks for everybody jumping on the stream impromptu with no plans as always, because that's how I roll. Thanks for any new viewers that came on here and rolled with the punches on this. And you're like, who the hell is this dude? Who the hell is this guy with the glyph on his head? I'm sparkles of gold. That's who I am. Pluto. On my forehead. Pluto on my heart. Pluto forever. I'm Pluto forever, man. I promise. I promise. It's in the dark. It's in the dark where you find yourself alone, just you. From dark to the light, it's you. Remember who you are. And your promise. Quote, all of us, whether or not we are warriors, have a cubic centimeter of chance that pops out in front of our eyes from time to time. The difference between an average person and a warrior is that the warrior is aware of this, and one of their tasks is to be alert, deliberately waiting, so that when their cubic centimeter pops out, they have the necessary speed, the prowess to pick it up.